That's why this has captured the public attention, is the gleeful harassment of the family of the victim who happens to be white. Anyone acting as though this was justified, anyone who is saying anything other than, I cannot believe this happened, this is another senseless killing, we need to look at why this is happening and how this came about. Anyone who's saying anything outside of that is a piece of shit. Let's get to Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf. We covered this when it happened. We covered some of the misinformation as it was coming out. Now, yesterday we had a pre-tape on the mayor, the globalist mayor installment that we did. So I wasn't able to talk about all of these developments. Some of it also happened kind of leading into the weekend. For those who don't know, Austin Metcalf was stabbed. White kid, young black kid, Karmelo Anthony. Okay? That's what happened. He was stabbed. It was murder. Now, when it happened, we thought, okay, the media doesn't want to cover this because of the races involved. We didn't know how fast they would actually race to venerate the murderer. In this case, nothing that the Black Lives Matter, that the racist left, that the professional race-baiting activists try and use as a defense, none of it holds water. This is not a young man, Karmelo Anthony. This is, well, first off, self-defense. The court will rule on that. I bet you he's going to be tried as an adult and probably spend most of, if not the rest of his life in prison. He's not a victim. He is not from a poor family who's had to struggle. And in this case, he wasn't wronged. There wasn't some racist police officer. There wasn't some racist kid. So, a lot of components here. A lot of components, and I will also tell you, look, I'm going to let you know where we're going. I'm not thrilled with the behavior and the response of the father. At first, hey, great. Good to forgive someone. But let me tell you this. If my son were killed needlessly, purposelessly, just killed with disregard for human life, snuffed for no reason, for nothing, I'd hope that I do a lot more than say, I forgive the killer, and then blame white people responding to professional race-baiting hucksters for dividing our country. I would hope I would do more, and I certainly would hope that my father would do more if that had happened to me when I was a teenager. That's just my hope. I don't think he's being a very good dad on this, and I think that he deserved privacy until he decided to wade out into the public eye and make his political statements. Appeasing crocodiles is futile, and it does more harm than good. So Monday, Karmelo Anthony, his first appearance was before a judge after being released on bond last week, which of course was lowered.
Tonight, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, who was charged with first-degree murder in the fatal stabbing of a teen at a track meet earlier this month, is out on bond. A judge today reducing the teen's $1 million bond to $250,000 at the request of the defense. The lower bond comes amidst rising tensions in the community after the stabbing during a high school track meet on April 2nd that led to the death of Austin Metcalf.
End result, he stabbed my son in the heart and killed him.
Okay. And he went on to say that he forgave. I think we have a clip of that. Forgive the killer. Which, when we talked about it, a lot of people were like, hey, that's more than I would do. But I think I told you guys, yeah, it's not just about forgiveness, so justice does matter. You can forgive and also seek justice. This whole thing has become a circus. The family hosted a press conference. We'll get into their representative, who is not a lawyer, their public representative, who is not a lawyer. I don't believe he's a professional anything other than child abuser. Convicted, by the way, so I'm not just making that up. That's not hearsay. I don't need to say allegedly. They held a press conference. I believe the clip is with this piece of crap talking.
And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later,
Great
is
sentence.
That was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who is not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family.
Okay, so those of you who don't know, and there's a lot of misinformation out there, let me just give you a rundown of this man. So this tells you right away where the family of Karmelo Anthony is lining up. First off, they didn't come out and respond the way that Austin Metcalf's father did, and hey, we're so sorry, and our heart goes out to him most of all, that our son murdered his son. No, they hired a professional race baiter who condemned the father of the murdered victim for showing up at a public press conference.
Yeah.
And in that press conference, he used every single tired, racist, black activist trope in the book. Let me give you some key facts here on this man who was there, the representative. He is Dominique Alexander. I want to make sure I get his name right. Dominique Alexander. He's the founder of Next Generation Action Network. He's been organizing protests for more than a decade. He's also, by the way, a hardened criminal. So their representative, which you'd think they could pull out someone who doesn't have a rap sheet. It's almost like they're baiting because they want to pull out someone who's a criminal. So you point out that the guy's a criminal and they say, that's racist. Are you saying all black people are criminals? We're going, no, there's a billion black people. That piece of shit's a criminal. Check forging. Leading police in a high-speed chase. Auto theft. Falsely claiming auto theft. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison for violating parole. His character witnesses at his own trial didn't even know him.
Oh, that's mean.
And by the way, these are all things that happened after he was arrested for likely shaking, lying about, causing serious bodily harm to a 2-year-old baby, which he blamed on the lesser-known book by Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules for Shaking Babies. Well, you've come a long way and changed my views.
Rule number 1, don't shake babies. End of book.
Make your
Have
bed.
the right form when you're shaking the baby. The baby's like a lobster. It's got a hard shell.
Make your bed, and if you take in all the facets of all the variables, don't shake a baby. Now,
Avoid it.
let's go into that. And there was also commentary you heard from the family, and you heard from this at this press conference. This is the next trope. I guess you can hit key fact here, Tim. We're going in non-sequence order.
I think it's too soft, too.
Where they said it shows that black men still struggle in America. But just so you know, it's not that hard of a struggle to not stab people who aren't trying to kill you.
Yes.
I mean, you got the knife with you. You're really itching.
Well, wasn't he captain of his football team too, Karmello? Like it's not like he was like being held down and.
Well, they're trying to talk about the struggle, right? Yeah. The struggle of the black man in this country. And many people do. By the way, a lot of white people do too. A lot of Asians do too. A lot of Latinos do too. You don't have a monopoly on struggle. And there's some misinformation out there where people are saying the family right away took the money from the Give, Send, Go and bought a house. That's not true. Doesn't seem like they purchased a brand new Escalade. That doesn't seem to be true. So people who reported on that, and maybe do your due diligence. But I also understand that they're being quite murky with what is going to happen with the money. They're saying, we didn't have access to the money. Yeah, but if you have $500,000 coming in 2 days, you put it on the credit card. So when they talk about struggle, this is a family that had been renting a $900,000 home in a very upscale Frisco neighborhood. Okay, the home value that they're about 2 times the value of Metcalf's home. Just if we're talking about racial dynamics, when they try and say it's not crime, it's poverty, it's about the black struggle. This family, they be pimps too. They posted pictures of family cruises, Vegas, new cars all the time. I mean, how many cars do you need? GMC Yukon, a new Lexus, and they still have to, while race baiting and while raising money for a murderer, you see Anthony's mother, who I'm sure is obviously upset, rightfully so, that her son's life is ruined. That doesn't change the fact that her son ruined it. It is his fault. But according to her, the family of the murderer, they're the victims.
The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms.
And that
my
sucks.
husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day.
Oh, accountability.
We have endured death threats.
Yeah, Metcalf endured death.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her.
And by the way, that sucks.
It does.
The daughter didn't do anything, and I understand. I don't know how much the parents did. I don't know how they raised this young man. I know they claim that they're both in the home, as opposed to Metcalf, who seems to have his parents separated, but seems to be an upstanding young man. Karmelo Anthony does not. But victims, the black struggle, they had to share a Yukon Denali. You have any idea how much planning has to go into that shit?
Yeah. And there aren't exactly mean streets of Frisco, no matter where you are in Frisco. Right. It's not that rough. And I'm sorry, like you said, that for the 13-year-old, as a parent, you never want the child to have fear in their own home. Of course not. That is a huge... You should be pissed off at Karmello. You should be absolutely furious with Karmello.
And you should be furious with the black community. Let's be clear about this. Not all cultures are equal. And when people say something that you say is racist, they're not even talking about all 1 billion black people. I think it's 1.2 billion black people. They're talking about American black culture that venerates and praises gangbangers and WAPs. And I mean, there's nothing good. It used to be black culture. You're talking about the blues. You're talking about rock and roll. I get it. Elvis lifted it. We're sorry. Motown. That's not what's happening right now. It's not. It's a problem with the black. And by the way, the race hucksters who you hire. You should look at the actions of your son. Mm-hmm. You should look at the crime statistics, which we'll get to, and acknowledge the statistical reality that white people are at significantly greater risk in being the victim of a crime at the hands of black people than the other way around. But ratio of like 12 to 1, it's not even close. At what point do we go, okay, you guys want to talk about the struggle? Well, what struggle? Are lynching? No, you guys are assaulting and killing white people in record numbers. And by the way, your own people, black people. What do you mean? Oh, you're being held up? No, there's affirmative action. Look at the grants in college. Look at DEI. Look at There's none of that for a guy like Austin Metcalf. I'm sorry, none of it. Laws are not being applied equally. You know what happens when you do that? When you absolve people of accountability on a little thing here and a little thing there and a little thing here. No, you don't need the same SAT score. No, you don't need the same extracurriculars. You know what? Yeah, we'll let you steal up to $950. You know what? Yeah, catch and release. Guess what? You absolve them of accountability on the little things, and you have a group of people, largely young black men like Karmelo Anthony, who believe that they can avoid accountability on all things. Those threats she mentioned, by the way, not confirmed by the police, contrary to the swatting of the Metcalf family. Yeah. The Anthonys also had a give, send, go for their son, the murderer, which raised $550,000 so far. Though, to be fair, they did lose $20,000 with their Take, Steal, Loot fund. That didn't go as...
gave you money!
The donations include comments like this on their give, send, go. I support your son. It's difficult raising black males in this country. Thank you for standing strong for your family. Is it difficult, though? Is it difficult, though, with a Yukon and a Lexus and a cruise and a Vegas vacation and a $900,000 house? Is it that difficult to make sure that the kid doesn't become a part of the statistical reality in stabbing an innocent white kid? Is it really that difficult? Hey, you know who doesn't think it's that difficult? Most white people in this country. You guys see the beating that was administered at Temple recently? I'm just going to come out and say it. Most white folks don't fight like that. Do you know that? Most white folks don't jump on a poor black guy like a jackal in the middle of the street and beat the shit out of him. But they're not emulating the same kind of culture. Now, at one point, you might have had the Jets and the Sharks, but some of them were Puerto Rican, so half of them were white. My point is, it's a different culture. Someone posted this too, sending this because Zimmerman was able to defend himself. Quotations. He did defend himself. Oh, wait, you mean it's not defending yourself when a guy has mounted you and is pounding your head into the pavement? I guess I'm a little murky on the rule book of self-defense. Didn't this son claim self-defense?
Yeah.
Touch me and see what happens? Okay, what if Metcalf was on top of your son, bouncing his head off the pavement like a basketball, which was happening to Zimmerman? I don't care if he was a dick afterwards. We're talking about self-defense. This guy said, Zimmerman was able to defend himself, and so was Kyle and every other police officer who killed our people. Great. Name them. Let's do that. Name them. Every other police officer. Just pull the names out. Give me 5. Give me 5 names. We should be able to defend ourselves as well. From what? From being asked to move? See, the reason I'm reading this is this echoes the culture that allows someone like Karmelo Anthony to think he can be a piece of shit and get away with it. Here's another comment. I will always support black bodies as we continue to be attacked by this yet-to-be United States of America. Really? Yet-to-be United States of America? Let me give you a few realities here as far as crime statistics. Black Americans. Okay, black Americans, they kill white Americans at 12 times the rate that white Americans kill black Americans. References available, and I'm going by rote here. if you know this, actually, an armed white man is far more likely to be shot by the cops than an armed black man.
Yep.
The stat they use is unarmed black men. Here's why. Black men also commit assaults on police officers far more than white people. Did you know that? Did you know that? So if it's a standoff and they're armed and it's not someone beating the shit out of a cop, a white guy's more likely to be shot. Everything they tell you is based on a lie to justify racism in this country and then blame you for responding. And that brings me to the point here where, yeah, look, I think this father should have just rode off into the sunset if he wanted his privacy. But he didn't. He didn't. He's waded into this, and what he's doing is worse than saying nothing. The ideal scenario would be reacting to and honestly addressing the criminal realities in our country. But I'd take being silent across the board as well. He did the one thing that is unforgivable, which is condemn the people out there who are pointing out the statistical realities regarding crime in this country and criminality. And yeah, you know what? People are pissed off now because we had to endure it since COVID and the summer of love and the police officer assassinations in Dallas, Texas. So we're going to start speaking out. No, we're not saying all black people. We're saying there are enough black people right now who are venerating a murderer, and acting as though he's a hero. That's why this has captured the public attention, is the gleeful harassment of the family of the victim who happens to be white. Anyone acting as though this was justified, anyone who is saying anything other than, I cannot believe this happened, this is another senseless killing, we need to look at why this is happening and how this came about. Anyone who's saying anything outside of that is a piece of shit. And it's not lost on me that I'm saying a whole lot more, but that's because we have to respond now to the lies. So this brings us to the father, Jesse Metcalf, who initially, when asked, had a very gracious answer and said that he forgave Karmelo Anthony.
The sad part about it is he died in his brother's arms. They were twins, identical twins. And his brother was holding on to him, trying to make it stop bleeding. And he died in his brother's arms. I'm not trying to judge, but what kind of parents did this child have? What was he taught? He brought a knife to a track meet, and he murdered my son by stabbing him in the heart. And you know what? I already forgive this person. Already. God takes care of things. God's going to take care of me. God's going to take care of my family.
That's great if forgiveness comes along with a sword as well. Forgiveness doesn't mean, and even mercy doesn't mean letting someone get off scot-free. And then we move on.
Also, not everything.
Right.
God takes care of it. No, not everything. Not always.
Nope. God says,
still got this family out here raising $500,000 already.
Yeah.
To work on the defense.
Yeah.
And the safety and the moving.
And they're not just working on the defense. Their defense is white people bad.
Mm-hmm. That he's the victim.
He's the victim. Now you have something to address, Dad. That's the issue. Instead, he told the Protect White Americans organizer, and by the way, I don't know this guy, Jake Lang. He seems like he's also trying to capitalize on something. I wouldn't be thrilled if some guy showed up and was asking me to agree with him and speak at a conference with him. Yeah. So just to be clear, I understand that. And he could have just said, hey, stop using my son. I agree. The problem is that meaning the father, has tossed his lot in with black activists who are stoking the flames of racial hatred. So here's the exchange between Jake Lang and Mr. Metcalf.
I don't understand, as I was a father, you could sit idly by and not condemn the culture that killed your son. There is an epidemic problem in this country, and your voice could be one of the loudest voices in this country, but you've chosen to recoil out of fear and continue the suppression.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any...
I get it. Say it to the other folks too.
No, let it go. Of my son. Let me finish. I give you your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
Now, I understand what the dad is saying. He's saying, I don't want to be associated with you. Got it. Unfortunately, the liaison there holding the phone, Bruce Carter, is wearing a suit has the logo on it that says Team Black Males Winning. So my point is this: he's not consistently applying it across the board. He's not consistently condemning. It's, I'll pray for you, the people profiting off of the murder of my son using race as the crux of it. And hey, you, I'm condemning you. They both have the same level of, best case scenario, racism. And here's the thing, appeasing crocodiles is futile. I've told you that so many times. That comes from Andrew Breitbart right there. I said under his tutelage. What have the Metcalfs gotten for their goodwill and praying for the murderers? Well, unlike the unverified threats that the Anthonys discussed at the press conference, no, this is something that's actually been verified. Swatting calls to their house. They've been swatted.
Frisco police confirmed to WFAA that someone called in a fake shooting to the home of Austin Metcalf's mother. That's a hoax called swatting. SWAT teams called out for these prank phone calls. It's the second time it's happened to that family in just weeks. Now, Austin Metcalf was stabbed and killed at a high school track meet in Frisco recently. Last week, we've confirmed a second fake call was made to his mother, Megan Metcalf's home, on April 8th.
Oh, you just don't know the struggle of being part of a demographic that kills white people at 12 times the rate that whites kill black Americans. It's not even close. I'm not going to hear the bullshit anymore. And by the way, once upon a time on YouTube, you couldn't even cite these statistics because it was considered racism. Also, before you go into, oh, is that a crime problem? It's a poverty problem. Regardless of where you are economically, you have poor white people. They don't commit homicides at the same rate as poor black people. It's not even close. It's not a poverty issue. It's a cultural issue. And before we get to that, you have the next clip here. Hey, maybe that same cultural issue is why you end up with, granted, hilarious as it is, videos like this 2-year-old stabbing Minnie Mouse.
Figure, look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, would you look at that? Just look at it.
That girl went in hard.
Copying Mama. That's just like Mama did to Chuck E. Cheese.
So it's like, wait a second. So gender is just conditioning. But shanking. Shanking, yeah. Like you're sitting by the fire in 310 to Yuma, that's just something that's, what is that, a white person issue? Let's just be clear about that. You'll find videos of kids bonking rabbits, not stabbing with perfect form Minnie Mouse in the face.
Went for the hair.
Would have been a kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was all of it. Went for the hair, brought it in.
Yeah.
Brought Minnie Mouse in.
Knew what she was doing.
And I understand
she saw that at a birthday party. I'm telling you.
That was Micaiah Bryant.
Yes. Oh, come on.
She went to Chucky Bleed.
Oh. But look, I understand the frustration against somebody like Lang, because you're right. It does seem like he's doing, I don't know what his motives are. It was kind of interesting that he went to the track and he's like, I've broken in here to see, and you can see the bloodstains. And it turns out a community note, he was on the wrong side of the track from where the actual stabbing had happened.
He makes money off of it.
So he's an opportunist too. They're all opportunists.
Here's something that I didn't know. And look, I mean, this father just lost his kid. Everything seemed just a little weird to me. I'm a Christian as well, and I would hope that I would be forgiving. On top of that, I get it. I don't know that I would immediately be forgiving, and I hope that I would someday get there. But I understand it. It came across a little bit weird. This whole conversation to me didn't make a whole lot of sense until one thing I heard him say. He said to the school, I don't know how you let that white piece of trash onto the school grounds. And he's talking about Lang being at the track.
He mentioned white.
And I was like, why did you...
The father said that?
Yeah, the father said that.
And look, again, I'm not attacking the father. This is probably one of the most difficult things he's ever had to deal with in his life. And he may not be thinking clearly. He may make mistakes. He may say stuff out of anger and frustration. I understand as much as I can that. And I give you all the grace for that. But with all this other stuff going on, that makes it really hard for me to just go, okay, it's not about race at all. You chose to include it there.
Right.
That he was white. Like, if it wasn't about race at all, I could kind of stand your ground a little bit more on the Lang thing, but then you did that. I was just like, man.
He talked to that guy and about that guy, apparently.
Yeah.
Worse than with more contempt than he's talked about or to the guy who murdered his son. What, is he still hoping to get invited to the Anthony cookout? What?
No, you're exactly. And this is the thing. That's the solutions that are proposed by the left. Oh my God, I bet you Karmelo Anthony, but maybe, sure, he comes from a wealthy family. Okay, sure, he's playing on the football team. Okay, sure, he has his own car. Maybe he wouldn't have stabbed the white kid if there was all-night basketball at the rec center or another Magic Johnson discount theater. None of it makes a difference until you address the reality in this country, which there is a cultural epidemic that is being pumped into a community, creating, when you're talking how many generations after slavery do you have to look at generation after generation of wanton violence at a murder rate, interracial murder of 12 times the rate? Hey, If white people are going out lynching black people, okay, it's still a 12th. It's not even close. And you may not want there to be a racial component here, but considering that we were told white supremacists, and by the way, white right-wing extremists were the greatest national security threat, and many white people were put on a watch list. By the way, some of them for saying nothing more than I'm saying today. Guess what? There is a racial component. There is a racial component. And I say this as someone who has far more pleasant interactions on a day-to-day basis with black Americans than white Americans because they're very conversational and they're usually very friendly. That doesn't change the issue that we have culturally. And of course, the problem is if racism goes away, if these people don't race bait, as a Representative Dominique wants to do, a lot of these people are out of a job, like professional race baiter, who I believe we have on the line right now.
That's right.
Mr. I won't say Reverend, but Al Sharpton. All right, Mr. Sharpton, can you hear me, sir?
Loud and clear like the pleas of my people.
All right. With the murder being pretty straightforward, what are your thoughts on the defense of the accused?
My people, you have to understand, my people were once in chains.
I know that.
But not anymore. Those chains have turned into...
Well, not knives for stabbing 16-year-olds at a track meet, maybe?
Now, let's not go off on a tangerine.
That's not a thing.
Clementine.
What do you think was the motivation behind the killing?
Well, I've heard self-defense. Seems crystal clear 3 ways from Monday.
Sunday.
It's Tuesday, Stevon.
Yeah.
It is Tuesday today.
I know.
And there may be some influence from pop culture.
Okay, such as?
In the words of the great late Christopher Farley, we must kill Whitey.
Well, he was white though. That doesn't make any sense.
That's just what they want you to believe. Everything's a lie.
Okay, that's enough, Tool Man. I think we can. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the Live Daily Show is now streaming exclusively on Rumble weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune in there, where nothing is censored.